All right, let's dive into this because the atmosphere around the team has been nothing short of chaotic. And when players start speaking up, you know things are boiling inside that locker room. The week kicked off with something that almost felt like a rare win. The injury report finally brought some good news outside of Lane, who everyone already expected to miss a handful of weeks. The rest of the roster showed up as full participants, looking sharp and ready to roll. Even Cam Jurgens was back on the field, which is big considering how unpredictable concussion recoveries can be for a team hunting for consistency. Seeing nearly everyone available feels like a breath of fresh air. But being healthy doesn't magically fix the vibe in the building. And that's where things get messy, inside the locker room. It's impossible not to notice how uneven the energy is. The defense is riding high, flying around, playing free, looking every bit like one of the toughest units in the league. Meanwhile, the offense feels like it's dragging a boulder uphill. Every possession looks like a grind. Every drive feels heavier than it should. So when Devonta Smith was asked about the reports of frustration, he didn't dodge anything. He kept it real and made it clear that everyone on that side of the ball feels the weight of falling short of the standard they set for themselves. And honestly, that explanation matches what fans have been watching. It's strange to think back to the 2 games before the bye, because those matchups looked like the breakthrough everyone had been waiting for. Against the Vikings and the Giants, the offense finally looked smooth again. The timing was sharp. The run game was rolling. The passing game had rhythm. Everything felt like it was trending in the right direction. For a brief moment, it felt like the identity of the offense had finally resurfaced. Then the bye week hit, and it was like someone tore the wires apart again. The offense came back looking choppy, hesitant, and completely out of sync, while the defense did the exact opposite from week 1 to now. That unit has transformed into something fierce. Young players who struggled early suddenly look polished. Guys who were missing or limited are back on the field making an impact. The energy, the confidence, the communication, everything on defense feels elevated. And that's why their side of the locker room is buzzing. But that contrast makes the offensive struggles feel even worse. And it's fueling all this noise from the outside. Every little quote gets twisted into something it isn't. Take the situation with A.J. Brown, for example. People jump to the conclusion that he's falling off, which is wild. And he had to address it even though the whole conversation got exaggerated beyond belief. He basically made it clear that if fans are calling him washed over stats, then the same logic would unfairly apply to plenty of elite players dealing with the same issues. The offense as a whole hasn't been consistent. The play designs haven't always clicked. The line has had rough stretches, and that affects everyone's numbers. That doesn't mean he suddenly stopped being elite. Still, that didn't stop people from overreacting. A lot of fans took what he said and ran in every direction possible, turning it into a storyline that never needed to exist. It's the kind of reaction that shows how tense the environment has become, especially when a team expected to dominate looks stuck. A.J. Brown even made it clear that part of the reason he avoids talking about certain topics is because people will twist anything he says into something dramatic, and honestly, he's right. Every comment right now has turned into a trending headline, and it's only making the locker room noise louder. But the real issue isn't one player, and it isn't one coach. Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, the whole offensive group knows they're not playing at the level they should. Devonta even explained that the frustrations aren't personal, they're collective. They talk weekly about what needs to change, what could work, and where adjustments need to be made. He even admitted the passing game can be much better. The run game hasn't been consistent. And because of that, nothing has complemented anything else the way it's supposed to. When one part of the offense finally gets rolling, the other seems to fall flat, and that rhythm they had before the bye just hasn't shown up again. He also mentioned that the identity of the offense is still developing, which is wild to hear this deep into the season. But it's honest, no one knows exactly what this group is right now. Before the bye, they looked balanced. After the bye, they looked like they had to restart everything from scratch. And while the defense is holding opponents down, forcing stops, getting turnovers, and keeping the team afloat, the offense continues searching for answers. That's where the frustration comes from. Not finger pointing, not drama, just the knowledge that they can be so much better than this. Fans feel it, the coaches feel it, and the players definitely feel it. The crazy thing is the defense is playing at a level that could genuinely carry this team deep into the postseason. If the offense manages to get its rhythm back, This team could dominate. The potential is still there. The talent is still there. They just need that spark to get everything flowing again. When you listen closely to the tone of the players, you can tell nobody is running from accountability. They know the offense has been sputtering, and they know exactly how different things look when every piece is aligned. The frustration isn't about ego or personal stats. It's about the standard they built together and the gap between where they are and where they believe they should be. Devonta Smith speaking calmly about it almost makes the situation feel even more serious because it shows the frustration is coming from a place of professionalism, not emotion. He's not lashing out. He's not placing blame on one person. He's acknowledging the truth. The offense has not lived up to the expectations they set for themselves. What makes this even more complicated is the contrast in momentum. Between the two sides of the ball, the defense is playing with so much confidence that you can literally feel it when they take the field. The communication is crisp. The tackling is sharp, and the pressure is finally getting home. Young players who were thrown into the fire early are now playing like seasoned veterans. The results aren't just flashes anymore. They're consistent, and that shift has totally changed the personality of the team. Suddenly, the defense walks around with this mentality like they know they can shut down anyone. And that makes the quiet tension on the offensive side even more obvious. When the vibes get uneven like that, it's natural for frustration to build. Because these players are competitive to the core. Nobody wants to feel like they're the side of the ball holding the team back. Nobody wants to be the reason the other unit has to carry more weight. That's what makes this moment so tricky. The defense has climbed out of their early struggles and established themselves as one of the most dependable groups in the league. While the offense, which used to be the engine of the entire team, is suddenly fighting through mud. That imbalance creates pressure, and pressure always leads to noise. A lot of that noise has fallen on Jalen Hurts. Even if Devonta Smith made it clear that the frustration is not just about the quarterback. Jalen is the kind of player who shoulders everything, even when it's not his fault. But anyone paying attention can see the issues extend way beyond him. The offensive line has been inconsistent. The timing in the passing game has been off. The run game hasn't had the punch it used to have. And when the play design doesn't put players in rhythm, everything feels disjointed. Jalen has had moments where he forced things, but he has also had stretches where he played clean and efficient, only for the rest of the offense to fall flat. It's not a one-man problem. And Devonta made sure to say that without creating any added drama. What also adds fuel to the fire is the way every little thing gets magnified. When a team expected to dominate starts stumbling, the reaction to A.J. Brown's comments is the perfect example. He used a comparison to make a point about statistics not defining talent. And suddenly the entire conversation got twisted into something it was never meant to be. Instead of understanding what he said, people spun it into controversy. They acted like he was taking a shot at another player, which he clearly wasn't, and the whole storyline took off like wildfire. All he was saying is that numbers don't always tell the full story. When the entire offense is struggling with rhythm and consistency, the truth is, A.J. Brown hasn't suddenly lost his explosiveness. He hasn't forgotten how to create separation. He hasn't stopped being a force. What's changed is the way the offense has been functioning around him. When the line isn't giving the quarterback enough time, the reads get rushed. When the routes aren't layered correctly, defenses can anticipate easier. When the run game doesn't threaten anyone, safeties creep up and clog the passing lanes. All those little things stack up, and they affect production in ways casual fans don't always notice. But instead of acknowledging that, some people jump straight into panic mode, acting like a few quieter games suddenly erased everything he has done. This is why players sometimes avoid speaking to honestly, because the smallest comment can turn into a storm. A.J. Brown even hinted that he's tired of giving people things to twist into chaos, and you can't blame him. When everyone around the team is on edge, when the offense is underperforming, when fans are waiting for any crumb of news to dissect, anything a player says becomes a headline. That tension creates even more pressure inside the building. Which is why so many of them are choosing to keep their heads down and focus on fixing things, instead of feeding the drama. But the reality is that this offense has the pieces to get back on track. If they can find that rhythm again, the potential hasn't disappeared. Devonta Smith said it himself. They talk constantly about what could work, what needs to be adjusted, and where the opportunities are. They're not ignoring the problems. And they're not pretending everything is fine. They're searching for solutions. And while nobody knows exactly what their identity will be, The players still believe they can find it before the season is over. That confidence means something, even if the execution hasn't shown it yet. The chemistry between Jalen Hurts and his receivers has always been built on trust, and that trust hasn't vanished. The timing may be off in certain moments, the spacing might not be clean enough, and the reads may develop slower than expected, but those things are fixable. You can feel that the frustration comes from knowing how high the ceiling is, not from losing faith in each other. When Devonta speaks about it, there's no bitterness in his voice, just determination. That's a rare thing when a season gets rocky, because a lot of teams start pointing fingers the moment adversity hits. But this group isn't doing that. They're frustrated, but they're united. And that's an important distinction. But unity alone won't fix the rhythm. The offense needs to rediscover the flow that made them so dangerous in past seasons. The pre-snap motion needs to be more purposeful. The play designs need to create mismatches again. The run game needs to set the tone the way it used to. The first quarters need to start with urgency instead of hesitation. Because once this offense gets rolling, everything changes. Drives feel smoother. The defense gets more rest. The field position battle swings in their favor, and the confidence starts to build possession by possession. The contrast is so sharp now that the defense almost feels like it's dragging the offense along, doing everything possible to give them chances. They've stepped up in every way, pressuring quarterbacks, stuffing runs, forcing turnovers, shifting momentum. They've taken giant leaps since the early struggles in the season. And now they are playing with a swagger that can carry a team deep in the postseason. The offense knows that. They know the window is still open. And they know they need to meet the defense halfway if they want to make a serious run. And that's where the urgency comes from. It's not panic. It's not fear. It's the understanding that everything this team wants is still within reach, but only if the offense wakes up and matches the level the defense is playing at. The talent is there. The players are healthy. The opportunities will be there. The only thing left is for the offense to find that rhythm again. The same rhythm they showed flashes of earlier in the year, and the same rhythm that made this group one of the most dangerous in the league not too long ago. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. The Philadelphia Eagles locker room is buzzing like never before, and the rumor mill is spinning out of control after a shocking development that could reshape the team's future. Sources close to the organization suggest that Eagles general manager Howie Roseman has made a decision that is sending shockwaves through the NFL. Star wide receiver A.J. Brown may soon be on the trading block. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders hint that Roseman's hammer has fallen, and the team is seriously considering moving one of its brightest offensive weapons. From the outside, the Eagles have looked strong, but the tension behind closed doors tells a very different story. Word is that the front office meetings have been heated, with voices raised and debates raging late into the night. The stakes are high. Brown is not just any player. He's a game changer, a star capable of turning the tide in crucial matchups. Letting him go would be a bold, even shocking move. But some believe Roseman is weighing long-term strategy over short-term glory. Rumors suggest that potential suitors have already started sniffing around. Teams in need of a proven wideout have been quietly gauging interest, and insiders say the Eagles could leverage Brown's value to bring in multiple pieces that would reshape the roster. The market for elite receivers is notoriously tricky, and sources claim that any trade discussions are still in the high-stakes whisper stage. Executives from other teams are reportedly circling, keen to capitalize on a player whose talent speaks for itself. Meanwhile, fans are divided. Some are adamant that losing A.J. Brown would be a catastrophic blow to the Eagles' offense, while others speculate that Roseman has a master plan only he can see. Social media is already ablaze with theories, mock trades, and heated debates, and the locker room is reportedly bracing for an announcement that could come at any moment. One thing is certain: in Philadelphia, the rumor mill never sleeps, and if this story is true, the city is in for a roller coaster ride of emotions. Whether this is the beginning of a seismic shift or just another swirling rumor, in a league full of them, all eyes are on Roseman. The clock is ticking, and the NFL world is holding its breath because if A.J. Brown is truly on the move, the fallout will be felt far beyond the Eagles' home turf. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments, let's talk birds.